them in real time. I'm pretty good about keeping an eye on the chat when it's questions in there. But if for some reason we are not, excuse me, my goodness, you guys, so sorry. If we don't quite get to your question or you have a question about something we haven't covered, we can definitely stay on for a few minutes at the very end and answer any of those specific one-off questions as well. So if we can use the chat for questions, that's great. And then we can always hang at the end if you still get your question is not answered. So as we get started today, if you can also please log into Canva, this will be an interactive session, so you can follow along. You should be able to log in with your credentials, school credentials, and it should take you right into your Canva account.
Yeah,
and
just a reminder, Janice, they have it in their district portal now. We've put it,
perfect.
so if they go to their portal and they click on the little Canva icon, it is there for them now.
Amazing. So yes, you can log in through the portal, which is even better, makes it even easier. This session, we're going to kind of focus on, it's a little bit of a hodgepodge. We're going to take a look at some design tips and tricks, some of our newest features in Canva, kind of a whole smattering of things. So when you log in, I'm going to give you just a second to do that. It should look something similar to my screen. It won't look exactly because our banner looks a little bit different, but it should look fairly similar. One quick disclaimer as we get started as well. I've been saying this quite a bit around this time of year, but about a week and a half ago, Canva had a big event called Canva Create, and that is where we launched all of our new tools for the year. That being said, we announce a lot of things, and then they slowly roll out over the next 4 to 6 weeks. So I think I have a pretty good idea of where things are at right now, but because it slowly rolls out to certain percentages of users, there very likely could be a point today where your screen looks different than my screen, or the buttons look a little bit different. So if there's any confusion, let me know in the chat, and I'll try to clarify about what has changed and then what also is going to continue to change over the next few weeks. So you will see some more changes happening in Canva, but it's always the fun time where things are new and things move around. I will also say that I did this session on Tuesday, and then 2 hours later, I did the same session and buttons were already different. So it's always a little fun when we kind of dig in and see what is changing in real time. Okay. So when you log in again, it will look something similar to this. My quick reminder that we always kind of start sessions with is down here in that lower left corner, you have your little bubble. This is where you can see what email you're logged into and what team that you are working in. It's always important that you are working in your school team. So that should be the name of the school that you are associated with, unless for some reason you are in a different type of role, where maybe you are in multiple schools, or you might have a team that says like staff and admin. But I always tell people it's helpful to just check first and kind of just make sure you're always working in the team that's the name of your school and it has a blue check mark. So you can check that on your own when you log in under that bubble in the lower left, making sure you're working in the correct team. It does not mean that what you create is public to the team. You can't even accidentally share if you wanted to. It just allows you to have access to all of the updated tools and features. Okay. So a couple other quick things. Again, buttons have moved around quite a bit. So if you are a frequent Canva user, you will notice that things have changed. So I want to quickly also remind, on the homepage, you have these recent designs here. Sometimes they're out of order. Sometimes you're not seeing everything that you need. So over here on the left, you do also have a projects tab with a little folder icon. That projects tab is everything that you've created in Canva. Everything automatically saves, and it saves to projects. So if you don't see what you're looking for right here, you'll always find it under projects. So that's always a good spot to check for any designs that you've created. And then you also have templates on the left. And so this is something that we've updated in Canva, and I want to talk about this, and I'm going to try to make this as clear as possible, but I know it's a little bit confusing. Right now, there's a couple different ways that you can search for templates in Canva, specifically when it comes to education content. So what that means is with Canva Education, you have access to over 100,000 education-specific templates, but you also have access to everything in our Pro account. So that's over 4 million templates. So a couple things. Number one, when you click on templates over here on the left-hand side, when you click on templates, you can search for absolutely anything and you'll find it. This is searching our entire template library, all 4 million templates. So when you search, when you click on templates and you search, I always tell people being specific is helpful. You can, search for a graphic organizer, or you can even be more specific and say science graphic organizer or Venn diagram or plot mounted or, solar system presentation, kind of using those keywords to drill down and find what you're looking for when it comes to searching the full template library. So again, templates on the left, searching templates here is going to be all 4 million templates or 4 million plus, and you're going to be able to search through all of them. We've added a new button. You can find it in 2 different places. On the homepage, you can find it right here, and it's a little red button that says Learn Grid. You can also find it when you click on templates on the left. You should see a Learn Grid option here. So Learn Grid was recently launched, and it is meant for teachers to help find resources more quickly. So what that means is if I click on Learn Grid, these are going to be things more specifically meant for the classroom. So versus like your Google Classroom banners or whatever else you might be creating, those are going to be part of the full template library. These are going to be more meant for classroom resources. So when I click on Learn Grid, you'll notice it should recognize where you're at. I live in Washington State, so mine says Washington. Yours will probably say Florida. You can also choose the grade level, the subject area, and then topic is typically either a Common Core standard, an NGSS standard, something kind of relevant in that sense, depending on the subject and the grade level. So Learn Grid allows you to just filter down if you want to just browse science templates or ELA templates, or if you're looking for a specific grade level. These are going to be more resource specific pieces versus just maybe a decorative template or a newsletter or something like that. I hope that kind of makes sense. So I can filter, again, I can choose one filter, all the filters, totally up to you. You'll also notice, I feel like this gets missed a lot. If you scroll, there is a little load more button. You can keep loading more templates so it doesn't just run out. You can you might have to keep clicking it to keep scrolling. And then you can also additionally, type in and continue to search using keywords yourself. So these are going to be, again, more education specific resources versus more, decor, other things, versus the full template library, which you're getting all kinds of other templates. I hope that sort of makes sense. So again, one more time, from the homepage, you can search templates just by clicking on templates and search the millions of templates, or you can click on Learn Grid and search for those education resources. All of the things in Learn Grid also show up in that main template library. This just narrows the scope a little bit more. So I want to pause because I want to give you a chance to kind of play around with this and see what you find. We're going to come back to this create option right here in just a minute. So hold those thoughts. I promise I'll come back to that. If you are newer to Canva, if you do find a template that you like and you click on it, it will show you and preview any pages that are in the template. You can then customize the resource. When you click that purple button, it will make a copy for you and it will put it into your projects tab. And then you will have a copy of it that you can edit and modify later. Okay. Actually, let me pop open just really quickly a blank design so I have a timer, which I didn't do. But we're going to take a couple minutes and I'm going to give you some time to kind of explore the template library. If you want to try the regular template library, switch over into Learn Grid, just kind of see what's out there. Just give you a few minutes to do that. And then we'll take a look at this AI section right here. So let's take about, I'm going to give you 4 minutes to get us started. Let's take about 4 minutes to kind of search through templates to get us started. Really great question in the chat. And if you could, you guys are doing awesome. Put those questions in the chat. That helps me see if we leave the chat just for questions so I can try to actually catch those. Good question. If you click the yellow star, what does that do? It kind of like favorites that template. So if you think about like giving it a little gold star as a favorite, those then show up. One really great button that often gets overlooked in the very upper left-hand corner of Canva is this little kind of box icon. When you click on that, it opens up this side panel that oftentimes gets hidden. So if you star and favorite a template, you'll see an option here that says starred content. That is where your starred templates will go. I also have other things in here that are not templates, but that is where the stars go. So that's where you would find those starred templates. So that's a great question and a good observation there as well. Awesome. Okay, let me give you about 4 minutes to search templates, and then we'll keep going. Amazing. So just to kind of get us started, again, finding different templates. I always tell people, yes, these are resources for your classroom, but it's meant to be kind of a really good starting point. It's not a completely finished product typically. So it's going to take you a little bit of adjusting on your end to make it be a good fit for your classroom. But they're really good places to get started. So again, lots of different ways to search templates, kind of depending on what you're looking for. You can search that full library, or if you want to try diving into LearnGrid. The other thing I will say is I'm also a Canva creator, so I create some of the templates that go into this library, which is really fun. So as a creator, I can tell you I am tagging these things in my templates, but there were a lot of templates that were out there. There was like 80,000 templates that existed before LearnGrid came about. So we're still working on the back end to go back and recategorize some of those. So just know this will continue to grow and change over time. If you don't find a ton of stuff, just know it will continue to build. So you might have to search, change grade levels up and down one. There might be a little bit of kind of playing around to find exactly what you need, but it is going out there. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about this create section here. So really quickly, there are also quite a few AI tools built into Canva. And so we've highlighted some of those right here in our LearnGrid. So I hate the term worksheet. I do feel like our digital worksheets, they're more activities. They're a little bit more interactive and robust. But you can, if you're not finding exactly what you're looking for in our library, you have some options. So I'm going to go through these. The worksheets button and the whiteboards button is connecting back to a tool called Magic Activities. So when I click on this, it's going to show me all kinds of different types of activities I can create. When I open it, you will see exactly what the template looks like. So this is what it is going to create for you, but you're able to put in grade level, subject, potentially some standards, and then you can add your own information. And then AI will take all of this that you have input and drop it and create this activity based on this information. So you get a really good preview of what it is going to create for you, and then being able to customize, and then AI will take those two things and mash them together. So that is the worksheet. The whiteboard is the same way. Whiteboards are just a little bit more infinite space. So you have a little bit more creative, interactive pieces. These are meant for independent or small group activities. So same thing, you can see what it's going to generate. You fill in the more specific information and it will mash the two together. So those are both really great options to kind of build as well. And then you also have this interactive game. This one is drawing from our Canva code tool as well. So these are going to be coding more interactive tools. So we don't have a ton of time to dive into these, but I do want to explain that. So when you see those buttons, you know exactly what's kind of happening. We have done some trainings around those, and we have some coming up. So if you're interested in more around those pieces, we can share some resources. I won't do a ton, but I just want to explain kind of what those actually mean right here. Great. Okay. So again, I'm on templates under LearnGrid or just under the template search. So just finding template. We're going to shift gears, and we are going to dive into some of the tools as well as updates within the design editor. So if you have something open that you found during our template search, fantastic. But if not, or if you want to just kind of play around and follow along today, we're going to go back to Canva's homepage right here. And we are going to click on presentation, the little orange bubble on the homepage, and that will drop you into a blank slide. So I already have mine open. So again, if you opened a template that you found when we were diving into templates, you're welcome to play around in that template today. But if you want to just follow along on a blank page, you can do that from the home page. So again, clicking on home and then using that orange presentation button, and it will drop you into a blank slide. Okay. So when you're in a design, you'll have your design in the center, pages at the bottom, and then a menu of tabs on the left. And we're going to kind of walk ourselves through those. So the first tab on the left is templates. Templates is just that same template library. This is where you can find templates, combine templates, things like that. The second tab on the left is elements, and I want to talk through a few of these pieces today, both some tips and tricks and some newer updates. So on the left, we have elements. Elements is kind of where we live when we're creating. And then you have, it's kind of broken down into these main sections. So elements is broken down into these sections. We have shapes and graphics and photos and videos and all kinds of things. So one of the options, one of the newer things, a lot of things you'll hear me say today too, is some of these are very tiny updates. They're just kind of fun, or I like to share them. So one of the updates and one of the fun features lives under shapes. Under that shapes section, so we're under elements and under shapes. These are all of our basic shapes. First of all, if you haven't been in here in a while, we've added a lot more basic shapes in here. When you add any one of these basic shapes to your design, you can stretch it and change it in any dimension. So that's kind of a nice feature of shapes that's different than graphics, is you have more control if you need a column, a button, a banner, whatever that might be. All of these shapes have text boxes built right in, so you can just type right in them as well. But I know this is really silly, y'all, but I think it's really fun. One of the updates that came out for shapes is in this upper toolbar up here. This is kind of like our smart toolbar, so it will always show you the tools you need based on the object you selected. So for example, I can change the color of this shape. I can change the font size, all of those tools. But we've also added this button here that says effects. These are different effects for the shape. Is this really silly? Yes, but I think it's kind of fun. So you can click on any one of these and it's going to make the shape just kind of gives you different fun. You can then obviously customize the colors from here as well. But if you want to give it a little bit of a 3D look or make it look a little glowy or however you want it to look, you kind of have some fun choices in here. So I just think these are fun to highlight. So again, once I click on any one of these effects, I can customize it. I can also even customize the colors if I don't like the preset ones and make it look however I want it to. Okay. Along with that, I didn't say this on Tuesday, but I'm going to share this too because I think this is not a new feature, but it is definitely one of the ones that gets overlooked most, but also gets the most oohs and ahs when I share it. And that is if you add any one of these shapes to your design. So it has to be a shape. It can't be a graphic. When you go into elements and you go into shapes and you pick any one of these shapes, when you click on the shape in the little smaller floating toolbar, at the end of that, there's 3 dots. 3 dots is always a menu in Canva. Under those 3 dots at the bottom, there's an option that says Enable Quick Flow. When you choose Enable Quick Flow, your shape is going to get these arrows. When you click on the arrow, it's going to attach a second shape to your first one. So I know, oohs and ahs, right? It's so exciting. This really does like get the best reactions, I swear. So kind of fun. Again, think about flow charts and brainstorms and mind maps and timelines and you name it. Such a great tool. You can double click in any shape and you can, again, still type in the shape. You can also double click on the line and you can type on the line. You can click on the line. Again, this is our smart toolbar, and it will always show you the tools you need. So if you want to change the endpoints or the color or the elbow is kind of the default, but if you want to make it a straight line or a curved line, you have all of those choices, font size, all of that stuff. So again, really easy ways, but it's not new. It's just such a hidden feature in there to enable or disable quick flow. Okay. I'm going to show you like 1 or 2 more things, and I'm going to give you some time to practice all of that. So that is shapes here. So under elements, that was shapes, effects, and then that 3 dot and quick flow. I'm going to back out of shapes. I'm going to go back to this main elements menu here. I'm going to show you 2 more things, and then I'm going to let you play with all of them. The second one under elements that I want to talk about is this section here that's labeled 3D. These are our 3D graphics. These are fairly new. We have a couple hundred at least. I know we had 200 and then we've added a whole bunch more. So I don't even know how many there are now, but you can search for things in here or you can kind of just scroll and see what you find. When you add any one of these 3D shapes, it takes a second to load. You'll notice there's a little dial in the center. When I click and hold, I can rotate these shapes 360. So these are under elements and then under that section labeled 3D. So I can rotate these 360. One of the updates that we recently launched was now, before you couldn't do this, now you can. Again, maybe this is not as applicable, but I'm going to share it. If you have a 3D object in your design and you choose present or preview and you pop yourself into kind of that full screen, you can rotate this while you're presenting. So again, tiny little update, a little bit silly, but allows you to then have a little bit more interaction with it in that kind of full screen present. So that was one of our more recent updates. There's a lot of really fun ones in there. I like, some of them are like, you know, like you can see the different earth. This one's very claymation. This one's very realistic. We've got a good mix of both. This one's always interesting. Ones like this that look like a painting. When I rotate it, it looks like the back of a painting. So they really are fairly robust, kind of 3D, but or also just like a little bit of a fun decor or something like that too. So you have lots of choices in there. Okay, last thing I want to share, and then I'm going to let you play with all of this. Back on that main elements menu, so if I back out of any specific category, up here in the search box, I can search for anything I want, and it will search all the categories at once. And then when I search something specific, so maybe I want to search for, or I want to describe something. Maybe I want a tiger reading a book. If I hit search, it's going to search all of these categories for a tiger reading a book. However, I can also choose, we have this generate option here. These are some of our AI tools. Under this little caret in this drop down, if I click on this, it will generate an image of a tiger reading a book, or a video, or a graphic, or one of those 3D graphics. You can generate your own 3D, like rotatable graphic. Things like that. There's other things in here. You could, if you want a song about a tiger reading a book, you can generate music. It will write you a song about that. If you want, I don't know what a sound effect would be, but you could try it. Things like that. Other things you can generate, obviously this is not a great example, but if you need a form, which is just like, like similar to a Google or a Microsoft form, if you want a feedback form for your class or an exit ticket, you can describe what you want. Click on the generate option, choose form, and it will generate you one. So these are all AI tools that it will generate for you. So you tell it what you want, click the caret, choose what type of AI you're going to use, and then it will generate. I hope that kind of makes sense. So I'm going to try 3D. You'll notice as soon as I click 3D, it will do it. And then it's going to run. Once it generates, we have a full audio library, first of all. So just to share, yes, we have a full audio library. You can also generate music and sound effects. Once it generates, it will add it as an audio track underneath. So it generates up to 30 seconds. So then you can add it to your slides. Yep, just as an audio track. Okay, I'm going to pause. I'm going to try quick flow, play with 3D. If you want to try generating, whatever is calling to you, we'll take a few minutes and try those pieces. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. But let's take about, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to get us started. We'll see if that's long enough to kind of play around with those tools. So let's take about 3 minutes here. I'm going to let the timer run, but I'm going to turn the sound off for a minute. Yes, it's actually generating new music. Let me actually pull up something. If you want to keep playing while I'm talking, that's great. I did these the other day just for fun. I asked it to generate an upbeat song for children about the parts of speech, and it does only generate 30 seconds, so just know it's not like a full song. And then I asked it for background noise of the rainforest with animal sounds and an eerie violin. This was just me messing around to see what it would do, right? So let me show you what they kind of sound like. I have to do this a little bit differently because of the way that I did it, but give me 1 second. Now I can't remember how I did this. Let me try. Well, now that button, see, things change all the time because now that button's gone. Nope, not like that. Okay, we'll try this. Let me see if I play. Oh, there we go. This is my upbeat song.
Let's sing about the words we use. It's easy, you can lose. Announce a person, place a thing now.
And then let me see if I can get it over to this one. This one's my like background rainforest violin. So it generated those. It's generating it essentially and composing music when you choose that generate for audio. So you describe what you want and it will generate that music. Yeah, it's really silly. I think it's kind of fun though. I didn't realize it was going to generate words the first time I did it. And I didn't know it was going to be, I thought it was just going to be like, which if you want it to be instrumental, you can ask it for like an instrumental without the words. You just have to ask it for that. So what that looks like, I'll generate this one and I'll show you how to add it. Let's see, what do I want to generate? Let's try this. We'll see. This one takes a little longer to generate too, but I'm gonna give us one more minute because I think we're playing with these, which is great. Let's see. This one's just slow today. Okay, so now it generated. So I said rock song to welcome students to class. To hit generate, it generated it right here. I can preview it by clicking the play button.
Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to our class. Let's rock and learn. Books and dreams collide today. We'll build ideas along the way. Raise your voice and join the ride. Side by side, we'll turn the tide. Open minds, ignite the spark. Together, we'll leave our mark. Yeah!
Okay, I don't hate that. That's great. So if I want to use it, then what I would do is I can click on it, like in the center of it, or I can click this. Oh, that's regenerate. So I would just click on kind of the name. You'll notice right now it added it down here underneath my slide. So now I have my slide. Now I have an audio track. Here's my quick tip for you. Slides are by default 5 seconds. This audio is 30 seconds. So if I want it to be longer, I just have to change the default time. Now it's 30 seconds. So that's the other thing it will also do is as soon as I added it to the design, it saved it to my uploads under audio. So now it lives here. So these are the other ones I've done. You can see they're in here. So as soon as I've added it, it saves it. So there's a couple places you can get to the audio generate. If you just click on elements and you're on this main elements page, you can describe what you want, click the little arrow and the caret, choose music, and then it will take that description in the box and generate it. You can also go into the audio tab and then generate from within here. Describe it here and hit generate. But you can also do it from the home page or from the main elements page, sorry, home page. Yeah, and it does sound effects too. Amazing. So again, lots of fun ways to kind of update. I love that it generates forms. Is it going to be a perfect form? No, but does it help you get started? If you're looking for data or charts, I did this the other day. I just said I want data to show growth over time on the average rainfall and then charts. So not only will it pull the data in, but it'll build me a chart with that information and things like that as well. So again, a couple places to generate things. From elements, you can describe whatever you want. You'll see a generate button here, but you have to click the little arrow and choose what thing that you're going to generate, whether it's music, charts, graphics, 3D, whatever it is. So if you're generating music under elements, you describe what you want, click the arrow, choose music, and it will generate, or charts or graphics or whatever. You can also go into audio, the audio section, and generate from within there. Amazing. I love that we love the audio. I think it's actually really fun, and I just haven't played with it very much.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Janice, that one of the questions Patricia just asked, and I think I'm right, but it gets saved over in the uploads.
So once you generate audio, if you generate something, this is 3D now. That's great. Once you generate, if you click on it so that it adds it to your design, so you have to add it first. So you just click on it once like on the name of it, it'll drop it into your design. I think you could drag and drop it too. And then once you add it under uploads on the left, if you switch over to audio, it will save it here as well. So hopefully that makes sense. Mine automatically, this slide, change the slide to 30 seconds. Click on your page here. At the top, you'll see a little time option that usually says 5 seconds by default. I think this one probably says 5 seconds. And then you just click on it and type in 30. Yeah, amazing. These are great. Okay, I'm looking at my list because I want to make sure I don't forget things. Okay, we did that. Perfect. We have about 20 minutes. Okay, great. Okay. A couple other quick pieces and like updates as well. So one of the other updates that we've created that I think also has some really amazing benefits is this is really great, especially if you're creating those whiteboards that we were talking about with those magic activities, or you find a whiteboard template and you want students to like collaborate in real time. This is also great if you create something for them, like an assignment, and you only want them to be able to like fill in certain parts. Another one of the updates that I'm so sorry, that we've added is if you click on an object in Canva. First of all, this part's not new. If you click on an object in this top toolbar, you'll have a little lock option. So you can lock things to a page. You can also click and hold and drag and grab a whole bunch of stuff. You can group them together and lock the whole thing. If you lock down, let me show you a better example of this. Let me put in a whiteboard. This might make a little more sense. Let's say I'm creating something like this. Fun fact, this is my template. I made this. It is in the library. Let's say I'm creating something like this, and I'm doing a whiteboard as an exit ticket. And I only want my students to be able to obviously like add a sticky note or add a piece of text, right? If I grab all of these pieces that I've added and I group them together, and then I lock them and I use that little lock icon, I want to lock it twice. Typically, locking with a pencil is kind of like a halfway lock, and then locking it again. So now it's locked down. Previously, if I shared this with students, even though I locked it, they would still be able to unlock it. And the newest update is if you create something and you lock parts of it, whether it's a collaborative template or an assignment, when you share it with someone who is a student, they cannot unlock what you locked. Okay, so students cannot unlock something that you've locked. Whether they make their own copy of that design and they own it anyways, they still can't unlock it, which is great. So teacher to teacher, they can. So if you were to do this with teachers, if somebody in that same teacher role or staff role can still unlock things, but teacher to student, students cannot unlock something that someone as a teacher locked. So little updates, but again, really helps with management as far as backgrounds not moving around, things not accidentally getting deleted, those kinds of things. You can lock entire pages. So if you go down to your bottom tray and you have multiple pages, if you click on the three dots to open the menu, let's say you have like a page of instructions and then you have a page that you want them to create in and you don't want them to accidentally delete that page of instructions, you can lock the whole page. Same things, students won't be able to unlock it. So I think that's a great update. Again, I think it's really silly, but again, really helpful for that classroom management piece. So under share, there's a couple different ways to share things, and it really also depends on what you're using to assign to students. But if you're sharing as a collaboration and you want everybody in the same one, you can share using anyone in my school can edit, even though they have edit rights, but because you lock something, they still can't unlock it. So you could share it this way. You would put this link in Google Classroom if you want them to all contribute to the same one. You just take that link and put it in Google Classroom, and then it will bring them into this design. We also have a lot more resources on this, but we have things like learning sessions where they can just hop right in and share. You can also go through the teach option and assign it to Google Classroom. But that means every single student is getting their own copy. They're not in the same one. So it just depends on how you're trying to share it. But we have a bunch more of information around that. Okay, where are we at time? 15 minutes. Perfect. Okay. Let me check my list. All right. One other thing that I forgot to say on Tuesday, so you guys are getting better. Better. It's like when you teach something more than once, right? You just keep getting better at it. One thing I forgot to say on Tuesday that is really helpful to answer a lot of these questions that we're not super deep diving into. It exists on Canva's homepage in the bottom right corner under the little question mark. But it also exists when you're creating within a design. In the bottom right corner, there's a little question mark here. This is updated quite a bit. So if you click on that question mark, you can say like, how do I assign to Google Classroom? And it will tell you. So if I want to assign something to Google Classroom, I say, how do I assign it to Google Classroom? And it will tell me. If I want to, how do I share a link so my students are collaborating? You can ask it that, and it will tell you how to do that link. So you ask it. If somebody asked about alt text, about ADA compliance, about some of those pieces, you can ask it what you want. How do I make alt text? You can click on that, and it will tell you how to do it. So anything you want to know how to do, if you don't know how to do it, that little question mark is like a little Canva assistant, and it will help you. So that's a really great option when you are kind of creating and still trying to figure that out. Okay. I do want to share this. I also didn't share this on Tuesday because I didn't know, and then it updated. And so I want to talk a little bit about this option as well. This is a newer feature in Canva that I think has some great capabilities, but it kind of tags back to that alt text piece as well. So if you're creating something in Canva, whether it is, let's say, for example, I'm creating like name tags or flashcards or something that is kind of consistent. This has been my go-to example, but let's say I have like this little thing and then I put my name on here. Let's say I have something like this where maybe I'm creating a bunch of these name tags, flashcards, labels, I don't know, whatever it might be. I can grab all of these pieces. So click and hold and drag and grab them all. And then under the toolbar, under the 3 dots, you also have an option that says create component. So components are new in Canva. When I choose create component, it's going to try to label it. That's fine. And it's going to create a little component. So now this whole kind of thing is a component, which means if I duplicate it and I make a bunch of them, that was not, okay, well, let's make 3. So if I make a bunch of them and then I realize, oh no, I don't like this font or I need to change something. If I change it on the original, it'll pop up. It's hard to see because this thing's in the way. When I change this on the original, you'll see a little button that says change all, and I can change them all at once, which is great. But I did just learn this after our session on Tuesday. Don't quote me on this because I haven't tried it, but I think you can do it. So let's try this together. If I click on the 3 dots, let's say I click on my little graphic here, and I click on the 3 dots, and I go down to alt text. It can suggest it. You can say it's decorative. You can, let's see, it suggests for me. There you go. A cartoon boy in a blue shirt sitting cross-legged. Fantastic. I'm going to choose save. Once I hit save, that alt text for this is saved. I can hit change all, and it will update every single one of them. So now this little, well, now I can't see it, but it does do it, I promise, because it's connected to the first one. So that's a really great way where if I can go to the 3 dots, that one doesn't have alt text because it's not an image, but if it was, I could say alt text, fill it in, save it, and then all of them would be the same. You can create components from a single object, so it doesn't have to be a group of things to help if you want, like, for example, that alt text to be on every single one. If I create a single object, create a component, maybe I'm using the same thing across a bunch of design or a bunch of my pages. I duplicate this one. This is a terrible example, but I think you know what I mean. And then I go to alt text, which doesn't even have, because it's not really an image. For some reason, that was weird. I don't know why it's not doing it. But if I did and I push it, it would save it. That's not a great example, but I think you know what I'm saying. Okay. Let's see what else. We did all those. Okay. One last thing, and then I guess I hear earlier than last time, that I want to talk about. Actually, let's pause. I'm going to pause. I'm going to give you a few more minutes. If you want to try the component, try adding alt text, try just kind of grouping and locking and seeing how that works. If you want to go back to generating AI graphics or 3D graphics or music, you can do that as well. But let's take a few more minutes and then we'll share 1 or 2 more things and wrap up with questions. So let's take a couple more minutes to try a few things.
James, can I ask a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
So I used the AI to create a small, like, track like you did, but yours showed up in your uploads, but I click on my uploads and it's not there. How
You have
do I
to add
save
it
it?
to the design first, and
Well,
then it's
it's
saved.
because it is added to the design on the graphic that I have, but even after doing that, I go back to my uploads and I'm not seeing it. Matter of fact, I don't have any of those other options. I have the uploads and the record yourself, but on mine, I
We don't have
have
like toggling between images, video, audio.
no, all I have is images and I have folders. That's it. So I don't know if there's anything else I need to do or
Oh.
what.
Apparently everybody else is having the same issue. And you can see it as like a audio track underneath.
Yeah, I see the audio track underneath my current slide. And I don't know if it's only because I have one. I mean, if I add another, I don't know if that does anything
It
different.
shouldn't matter. I thought that it would automatically save. My wonder is if it's maybe just slowly rolling out and it just hasn't fully rolled out yet. I'll try to find more information and I'll send it to Kathy. That's my understanding of how it works. Worst case, you could always download well, I guess you would not download an MP4. I'll figure that out. If it's in the design, then it's still going to be in that design and you could copy it and paste it to something else if you wanted to continue to use it for the moment. That's not a great workaround, but you could copy and paste it.
Okay.
I will ask internally if that's something that's just slowly rolling out or for whatever reason. Yeah. My understanding is if it was under here, it would automatically save to uploads, but there might be something that's just missing in there too.
All right, perfect. Thanks.
All right, that was a great answer. Good questions. Try dragging it, yeah, in the slide. I've just clicked it, but you can also, let me try one more. Let's see.
I have a question to follow up. I thought I created the song and it was in there, but then I got disconnected and I had to reconnect and I can't even find, I don't know where anything is.
Okay,
Everything's
maybe
saved under projects, but yeah.
It's not
yeah,
under
and
project.
then maybe afterwards, sorry, Eve, maybe afterwards, because Janice has a couple more things to show us. But if you don't mind staying on afterwards, and then we're not recording, and then maybe you can share your screen and we can hunt it down for you.
Sure, thank you.
You're welcome.
And to answer the question in the chat about layering, you can layer anything over the top of anything or underneath anything. If you just click on an object, you have some choices. You can choose the 3 dots here and choose layer and move things forwards and backwards. You don't have to delete anything, but you can definitely layer. You can either right click or click on an object, choose the 3 dots and decide which layer part is forwards and backwards. So that is a really easy way. You can also align things, but yeah, that 3-dot menu on anything is going to always give you all the tools that you need. So layer, align. This position tab at the top will also show you layers and positioning. So there's 2 different ways to find them. But those are both great tools when it comes to like layering. Great questions. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about really quickly. This one again, small update, but makes the world of difference. I always get asked, okay, I want to create something. How do I print it? Like maybe I made these name tags or flashcards or whatever previously, and you can still do it this way. You can go to share, you can go to download it as a PDF and then print it from that PDF. So you can absolutely still do that if you need a little bit more control. But we've added a button. It doesn't live under share, so it kind of gets missed. It lives under file. When I go to file, I have this option to print. And then under print, I can choose use my printer, and then it will send it directly to my printer. So instead of downloading, opening the PDF and printing, I can go to file, use my, I don't have a printer set up, but it will do this. And then it will pop open a window that will allow you to print it. So again, tiny little update, but kind of makes a big difference. So it pops open this, and then if you had a printer installed, you could print it. So it lives under file, so it kind of gets missed, but that is an option as well. So file, print, instead of save, instead of share and download, which you can still do as well. Okay. All right, one last thing that I want to talk about for a lot of people who, this is a lot of information. So back on Canva's homepage, one of the other things that we have added, which has been around, but it kind of gets, again, a little bit hidden in Canva, is when you're on Canva's homepage, this left-hand menu over here, mine might look different than yours. Mine might be in a different order, which is really common. However, at the bottom of the left-hand menu is 3 dots. Again, always a menu in Canva. So when I click on more, I can see all these options. Yours is going to look different than mine, I'm sure of it, but under the more tab on the homepage, one of these options should say design school. Mine's actually pinned, so it's outside. For the 3 dots, you typically will have an option that says design school. Design school is Canva's asynchronous learning hub. So this is where you can find all sorts of ways to learn more about Canva. This is where this panel also comes in handy, where I can click it, pop it open, and then I can see, do I want guides, which are new? Do I want a video about something, an activity, a cheat sheet, all kinds of things. Typically, you'll see some education stuff up front, but you'll get all of the ones available. So if you want like a student activity card, there's all kinds of different ones in here. We also have full little courses. You don't have to take the whole thing, but if you wanted to, here's a whole thing about components if you're really interested in that. Or Meet Canva's Visual Suite just teaches you all about all the buttons in Canva. We also have, again, some more education specific, like teacher essentials, engaging students with Canva. But you could take any one of these to help you kind of learn a little bit more. You can also search in here about what you want to learn, and anything we have related will pop up. These are all great because they're like micro learning. So maybe like a 3 or 4 minute video, an activity, or a cheat sheet that goes with it. But you could also find them independently to be able to learn more on your own. So again, home Canva, you can also search Canva Design School, but Canva's homepage under the 3 dots and Design School, all of these have been kind of revamped and remodified to really focus on the new tools, and as the continued new tools roll out, you'll see more of that update as well. Okay. We have about 4 minutes. I know Kathy's probably going to re-put the link in, and then we can stick around and ask more questions. But I will let her wrap, and then we can answer any questions that I didn't get to.
Yes. Thank you, Janice. That was awesome. As always, so much information there for all of us. I do want to share a couple things. Carmen, this will be on the EdTech training site, and I'll put that link in the chat in just a second. I just wanted to let everybody know that we do have some Canva in person coming up. So if you want to see Janice in real life, everybody, Janice in the flesh is going to be with us at St. Lucia's High School this summer, June 4th and June 5th in person. So if you want more hands-on, June 4th is going to be more of a beginner's intro to Canva. June 5th is going to be more advanced experienced users. Registration is open in ELM, so feel free to register for that. We also have some asynchronous courses in e-learning dealing with Canva. I know Janice showed some of those courses. We've packaged them together, so if you're looking for a few points, you can take some of those. All you have to do is search Canva and ELM, and it should pop up for you. But feel free to reach out to me or anybody on the team. I'm about to inundate the chat with a bunch of links for you. So the first link that's there is our Title IV. So if you do not get a chance to submit for payment. Also, I've gotten some messages about transferring Canva files. So if you have seniors that are graduating, if you are leaving the district and you want to save some of your Canva things, if you are changing schools, you don't have to transfer files over. It is automatically synced with your district account. So if you're just moving schools over the summer, you don't have to transfer your files. That's something that's magically done on the back end for you. But we would like your feedback. So feedback for this training, what you thought of it, how did Janice and I do. Do you have any suggestions for future trainings? What would that look like for you? Also, this is a place if you want somebody from the ed tech team to work with your team. If you supervise a team of teachers or you're a team lead and you want more in-depth training like ADA or anything like that, feel free to put that on the form as well. And then if you wanted to join our mailing list, we're always blasting out different trainings throughout the year. We don't spam you too much, maybe one email a month, but we'd love for you to join our mailing list to get that information. And then this is, you know, our training team. Might recognize everybody from if you've been a part of this Title IV series that we've been doing all year long. So feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any questions or need a deeper dive into anything. And Patricia, no, if you filled the form out at the beginning, you don't have to do it at the end. So feel free to, you can leave the meeting now. If you do have additional questions, Janice and I will be staying on for a few more minutes. So just raise your hand and go ahead and ask away. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thanks, all. And come see me in June. Amazing. We'll see if there's any last questions.
Yeah, so is this a good time to ask, Catherine?